Oh, Lila, it is our last time being seen and heard on this podcast, but certainly not the last time you'll be seeing and hearing of us, right?
Isn't that right, Dr. Brown?
All right, we are so excited. This is our last episode, and we are talking about the movie industry overall and how repackaging kind of sold us on the High School Musical franchise.
No, definitely. Well, the first High School Musical was just the beginning of an iconic pop culture moment, really.
100%.
I mean, the fact that, like, I know we've been saying this, like several times in our thing, but the fact that we are talking about this, like, kind of like low budget, like Disney Channel original movie, like from 20 years ago. Stars like Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron were probably, I would say, like arguably the major breakout stars of this movie. Which, like, I guess with like iconic pop culture, we're still like sometimes in movies when I guess like he was recently in The Greatest Showman, and you look at him, you're like, oh my god, or
Troy
17
Bolton,
again.
right?
I remember when I was little and he came out in 17 again. And I was like, Mom, we have to see it. Like, I need to see it because it's Troy Bolton. She's like, you can't see that movie.
Right. And I feel like that goes for, like, the 6 main cast for sure. Like, all of them were sold by the industry as their characters, like, in real life. Like, it was always like, oh, what's Sharpay Evans doing in real life? Like,
yes.
And it was just like, I didn't know who Ashley Tisdale was. Like, they were just, like, the marketing that came from the High School Musical series.
It is insane. And because Troy and Gabriella, you're like, oh my God, they're together.
Right.
Like,
the industry definitely had a hand in their relationship.
No,
like,
definitely.
I have no backing to that, but there is something fishy.
I remember they did, like, Disney Channel would always do little, like, segments, like, behind the scenes, and they're, like, talking about how, like, Troy and Gabriella, they just, like, are always together.
Right.
And they just, like, are always giggling or stuff like that.
And I feel like their relationship after the first movie, like, their real-life relationship, definitely created buzz for the other movies.
It
like,
definitely
to see
did.
what was going to happen there. And even, like, oh my God, do you know Bart Johnson, who played Coach Bolton? He still is he's on TikTok, and all of his TikToks have to do with being Coach Bolton. And I'm like, love that.
No, because he has, like, loved that, but he has not been in anything
No,
since.
he's
like,
literally, I looked at his...
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he has.
I think he's been in one other thing, and it was not successful, and I'm just like, I love that for him, because you know he's still making money off of those movies.
No, exactly. They're all definitely still reaping the benefits of the movie they made, like, 20 years ago, which, like...
Well,
why
and
not?
No wonder they are, because the first movie made $700 million in soundtrack and merchandise sales.
They definitely did a lot of repackaging, which is when one type of media sells itself through another form of media or product to make more profit.
Well, and obviously, like, that's the name of the game for Disney. Like, all they do is make profit. And to think, like, this is a $4 million budget movie that made $700 million afterwards, just in repackaging their own stars and their own message and story.
Yeah.
Like, let's just talk, like, can you name, like, a few examples? Like, I mean, I have, like, 100.
Yes. No, so they had, like, karaoke discs. I remember there was a... like Wii game.
I had Wii karaoke for High School Musical.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
had Wii karaoke for High School Musical. There was concert series, which I remember going to a High School Musical concert.
We did not have the funds for a High School Musical concert. However, Disney on Ice did a High School Musical version where they did a High School Musical on ice. I absolutely went as Troy Bolton, which I was upset about because I wanted
to be Ryan.
I was more of a Ryan, but I had the brown hair, and my cousin with the blonde hair got to be Ryan. Anywho, but I had the T-shirt. We had the pillows.
Backpacks.
The door sign.
Oh my God, Barbie dolls.
The lunchbox.
I remember I had a Gabriella Barbie doll that sang all the songs.
Oh, absolutely. We had it all, the costumes, the Halloween costumes.
Oh, I think there was a DS game too.
Yep. So, like, all of that, which is so crazy, all of that is, like, making Disney money. And it's, like, one Disney Channel original movie that came out on, like... One, I will say, it came out on my birthday in 2006.
Wow.
That's my claim to fame. But I just want to say, like, one of their 6 movies they had planned for coming out in 2006 turned into this industry, which is just so crazy.
No, and you know what else is so crazy about their franchise is, like, if you think about it, like, you wouldn't see, like, a Camp Rock being put on in, like, a high school. But they have, like, musical theater rights being sold. Like, people put it on in their high schools, middle schools.
Now, have I ever seen a successful version of this at a high school? No. Can't say I have.
People probably love it.
They do. They have fun at least. But no, no one's going to do my movie justice. But to go back into this kind of idea of Disney being like this huge company in the movie industry, I want to talk a little bit about the 1995 merger. I don't know if you know about this, but like Disney bought ABC and its parent company for $19 billion. And this like forever shifted power dynamics in Hollywood and gave like Disney as a company like flexibility to kind of make whatever they wanted. So like that was really where this Disney Channel original movie series came from, because they had the ability to churn out 6 movies a year. And some of them were like these cult classics like High School Musical. And they didn't really have the threat of like major failure because they were just so big.
No, they really could kind of just do what they wanted to. They had like the flexibility to take risks a little bit, because I think it's a little bit risky to be making like movies through a TV channel. Right.
Yeah. And I feel like Disney just kind of like owns everything now. Like
they're such a powerhouse. It's not even funny.
I mean, it's kind of scary. Honestly, like seeing them in like the news with like being so involved in politics now, like it's like, okay, so when is Disney going to stop like reaching over? However, I'm like totally on their side in this one thing, not to be political, but I'm a poli-sci major. But just besides that, like they are just like such a powerful company, and it's just like such this idea of like convergence and like the movie industry becoming so consolidated among like just these single actors is just kind of like a threatening thing to especially like smaller production companies. And like now that we see like the writers' strike, like a company like Disney just has so much money and so much power that it's
like doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter what anyone else
does. And they can really like with the Disney Channel originals being like kind of formulaic and stuff like that, like they can just pump it out. Like it doesn't have to be like that great of writing. I like don't really have too much to back me up on this, but arguably, like, do you think that if High School Musical were to be like released on a channel like maybe Nickelodeon or I don't really know. I guess just Nickelodeon. Like, would it be the same powerhouse? Like, would it have the same platform or?
I don't think so. And it's because there was such like a thing around Disney Channel original movies. Like everyone wanted to watch them as they came out. So like just their brand gave them this platform to make things that could turn into cultural moments for us. And I know that I like shit on Disney a little bit, but like I am so thankful for the things that they pumped out. And like some of the things like we talked about in the representation episode were so impactful to my childhood and to other people. Like their content was like really good.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I think it's a little bit of a double-ended sword. Like the fact that some company that is so powerful is also like the one that like are making these like movies that are so in our formative years that are so impactful on us. Like
Yeah, well, Lila, I have had so much fun with you during this podcast series. I kind of wish we could get some funding to keep it going.
Me as well.
Because I'm going to say, this is a lot of research, but I had so much fun.
No, we definitely have been talking about this for a while.
Too long. Dr. Brown's ears are bleeding currently. If you're still listening, Dr. Brown, thank you for everything.
Yeah, it's definitely good that you gave us guidelines.
Guidelines.
Because we definitely would be talking for hours on end.
This would be an 8-hour podcast.
This would be an 8-hour podcast. There would be singing. There would be
dance. You would hear my tap shoes. Okay, Lila, last thing I want to do. We need to think for a second. Give each other a High School Musical character.
Well, no. You told me that you're Ryan.
No,
so that's hard.
You don't have to type me as Ryan because I know what you are.
I think I know who I am too.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. You are the skater that wants to play the cello and stick to the status quo.
Okay, well, you know who you are?
Who?
Miss Darbus.
I absolutely am Miss Darbus, and it is a hard truth to be faced with.
I know you want to be Ryan.
I want to be Ryan, but I am a Miss Darbus. Oh my gosh. And with that, thank you so much for being here. We have had so much fun, and we might catch you in the future. Bye.